start.
Things that she's in town.
All right. Okay, I'd like to call to order.
I think before we start, we should say a prayer.
Lead on.
That's okay.
Okay.
It's okay, Stacy, go
Okay.
ahead, I'm sorry.
Throw me for a loop. I'd like to call to order this special meeting of the Town of Newburgh Town Council, Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. Roll call, please.
District 1, Steve Shoemaker.
Present.
District 2, Paul Perry.
Present.
District 3, Stacy Krieger.
Present.
District 4, Ann Restaurant.
Here.
Council at Large, Leanna K. Hughes.
Here,
Clerk Treasurer Nanette Angel here. Administrative Town Manager Chris Cook.
Here.
Deputy Town Manager Andrea Balboni.
Here.
Town Attorney Christopher Wisher.
Here.
All right, our new business is the roundtable discussion of items that the council has been thinking about, dreaming about, wanting to talk about. So we'll just start with the first one on the list, blighted properties in town and demo of historic homes. Ann, did you bring this one?
I did not specifically, but I brought the next one, town purchase of properties, which kind of goes right along with it.
Okay. What, do we have a list of blighted properties of in the historic district
Blighted properties?
I mean, the blighted would be the ones that we would be
demoing?
demoing. I mean, we currently have 2 raise orders, but those are outside. No, they're in. They went to HPC. But as far as that, I mean, we do the code enforcement. We have one that has sent me information on wanting to take their house down. This is it's not a blight issue. This is just a general request. I don't know if he's gonna eventually claim that can't be saved.
Okay.
But I basically sent him, here's what you have to prove, here's all these things that you have to do to get there, and so far I've not heard anything.
Is
from him.
it, do you happen to know if it's a historic home?
It's a historic home, yes.
It is a historic.
Mhm.
Is this the one where probably in gray?
Yeah. So essentially, he doesn't live here, he inherited it, he's like, I wanna demo it. I don't know if it's just a necessity thing, but basically I sent him everything that I could put, not the demolition by neglect, but I sent him the demolition permit plus the historic preservation guidelines, and I'm like, it is up to you guys or up to you to prove to us that this house can't be saved. So at this point, I haven't heard anything back from him, so that's the.
Okay, and I'm gonna turn it over to you, because I think that goes along
The
with the
problem
next.
with tearing it down is it's such a teeny tiny lot that I assume that information is in there, and he may not care, because if he's not around here or doesn't intend to do anything with the lot, then it may not make a difference to him, but it certainly would make a difference to, in the future,
Right.
who would want to own it, who would want to build on it.
Who's gonna build on it, right? Then it goes into the whole, where are they gonna build? It goes back to now, the same thing that, cause what is it? 10 Gray got taken down, a few years ago. And then they had to go through all the variances and everything to get a house built, cause it doesn't conform, it's a lot so small, right? So then you kinda get into that whole thing. So, at this point, I'm just waiting on him. He keeps throwing back out, was it 2 Gray, the house in the corner?
It's not 10 Gray, first of all,
Well,
it's
but-
further down, but they're not, they're going to, but they haven't built anything.
No, but
Yeah.
he's throwing, or he keeps mentioning the house in the corner of State and Gray, how we took it down. And to which I explained to him, it had to go through the whole blight program, and here's why X, Y, and Z, right? So,
It went through code enforcement.
right,
It was
so,
in bad shape. It had to, it kind of reached the point where.
it was a danger, as I recall, like kids were getting in there and we were
Right.
scared that something was gonna happen.
Right.
but then my worry is, if he has to go through all this to prove it, and he doesn't want to, he doesn't live here, does he stop taking care of it? Does it get to that point? You know what I mean? But that's where then the code enforcement comes, and the fines, and making sure we're on top of all of that, so we don't
But
just
at least
allow them
with
to
the
get
other
to
Gray
that.
Street property, it's big enough to build on.
Oh, it's the 10 Gray?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not,
Or 11 Gray.
no,
No,
it's
the
gotta
other
go
way.
the other
It's
way,
like
cause
five.
his is 8,
By 5.
5,
The one on the corner.
yeah. Mabel
by
Burns'
five.
house,
Okay, I
That
thought
would
you
be
were talking
two,
about,
wouldn't it? I think that's it. Would
I
be
don't know.
I got all the
uneven
addresses.
number over
Yeah.
there, not uneven.
Gone.
I mean, it
Got it.
would be an even number.
But at this point, I'm just waiting on him to come back.
So he has not given you any indication of what he wants to do with the property?
Does that property go all the way back to the ditch?
I have to pull it up.
I mean, there's a fence behind the house, and I thought, that surely it's not just that little teeny tiny patch of land. Surely it goes all the way back to the ditch.
You're not talking about the ditch that would be between the stores and Angela Chapman's house, are you?
No, this is another part of that, but yeah, it's just, yeah.
Okay.
I can look it up. I can type.
I was looking for a pen.
Here.
It's not good, thanks.
Well, the other part of that is, and I've talked about it before with some of you, because I see it on AIM, I see it other places, I know what's going on, that in some communities, councils are actually buying properties and fixing them up and selling them. And to me, that seems like something that might be a good thing for us, because it's not gonna keep them from being Airbnbs, it's not gonna keep them from becoming rentals eventually. But I think it puts our money where our mouth is, and if we actually care about our historic look, our historic feel, our historic homes and buildings, this would be a good way to prove that we do care, and we care enough to do something about it. So, for example, a house like this, which is gonna need a tremendous amount of repair, if it's repairable at all, you know, would be something maybe good to start with. It's small, it's a very small house, but it's also the kind of house that a lot of single or older people are looking for. And I'm sure there are lots of others. There are lots of houses in town that could qualify.
No, it's not, it's on the other side.
No, it's right there.
What's the address?
8 Gray.
8, so it's Michael White or something.
Yeah, it's a,
It does-
it's
it does have a
it's
weird-
strange,
It has a weird, yeah, it's weird.
strange parcel attached to it.
Well, it's, yeah, it's the,
So it actually doesn't include that.
No, it doesn't. That's a whole nother lot.
Oh my gosh.
Nicholson's owned by.
So it just goes back to the fence?
No.
Well, then
I
there's,
think
it's even weirder than that. There is a little strip that gets all the way back, but
Okay.
it doesn't even line up with the house.
Oh, okay.
You have to see it.
That's
Makes
crazy.
you wonder if the GIS is right.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if the GIS is right, but it looks like they own that piece and
Isn't it
some
weird?
piece off the Nicholson vacant piece, but
Mhm.
maybe it,
Well, and there was the
Yeah.
fence.
the
by
GIS isn't
Nicholson's
always right.
Made me worry about this, that maybe that wasn't part of the property of this house, and apparently it
Yeah.
isn't.
The one that the guy built,
He
that
sells
was,
a lot.
is that what you're talking about, the concrete guy or whatever, masonry?
Yeah, yeah, the house was built in 1854 by Mr. Butterworth. Mrs. Butterworth was at home making syrup.
Sir,
Mr. Butterworth was a stonemason. He came from England to build the stone walls that we have downtown in Newburgh, specifically on State Street. And he also ordered marble from Italy and did marble work in the interiors of some houses. I would assume some of those are in Newburgh also. He was also a brick mason, made bricks, and probably had a hand in building some of the houses that are contemporary to his time here.
How would we even do that?
How do we what?
Buy
I mean,
properties?
Buy properties, I mean,
I mean, legally, there's probably, I think there's a number of ways you could do it. I mean, you could do it through the your redevelopment commission maybe. I mean, it's all a question of funding, right?
Right.
And how that would come, how the money would come together, but there's a mechanism to do it.
Would it be like a holding corporation that,
I mean,
Might
maybe you
do it
could use
also.
the building Newburgh Building Corporation,
NBC?
but could be, but, I mean, we usually use that to do bonds.
Newburgh Building
So if we're not doing a
Corporation?
bond, if we're just buying it and fixing it up, and then, I mean, there's it's been done. I mean, Kevinsville had a front door program where they were doing some things. And,
He did that.
it's-
Stuff they bought on tax sale.
yeah, I mean, it's how you get hold of it, right? Because you can't, I mean, you have to find a willing buyer, or you find a way to buy it on a tax sale or something else, because you can't, unless you're gonna condemn it, you have to get it, but then you really can't do that for,
No,
turn around
that's
and
true.
sell it. But we can definitely, I mean, I think it's something that others have done. We can figure out how it's done. I mean,
Would it be something that maybe Andrea, since she's had conversation with the man, could just say, hey, just talking, would you have an interest in selling?
selling it. I do think that we'd have to find a way to reach voluntary transactions to buy properties. And,
What was
there's
that?
other,
What
you
kind
have to reach a deal, right? You kind of have to,
Instead of
Go with that.
condemning, instead of.
yeah, and I think that, that may be doable. I think some of the properties that are probably rentals that may not be code enforcement, but they're still, you could, let's work on it. I think there's a way to get a systematic approach to try to come up with a goal, and not just scattershot a bunch of properties, but maybe that kind of
Well,
combine them
remember,
together and do something with.
we owned a house.
Yeah,
We bought a house over on, Polk, what, was it on Polk?
Polk.
Okay, we owned a house on Polk Street for 20 years and
Yeah.
eventually tore it down. That entire time, as far as I know, it was lived in by one of our employees. We rented it to one of our employees. But,
I hated to see us do that, only because it kind of filled out that whole block of if we wanted to expand the town's, maintenance building, that sort of thing. So I thought
but we
that was.
kept the house is the point. We didn't tear the house
Right,
down. We kept the house
right,
for
a long time.
a long time, yeah. We used it for a long time.
So I guess what I need to know, and what Chris would need to know, how does council feel about this?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What town ordinances cover short-term rentals, if any? And does the town derive any tax revenue, innkeeper's tax, from said short-term rentals? And the reason I'm asking this is, if you look at this from a real estate lens, this home, although I understand Ian's thoughts about the historical nature, the highest economic use of this is gonna be for short-term rental, because it has no yard and it's extremely
Well,
small.
Don't
So-
confuse the two issues, because, yeah, I'd like to see the house on Gray saved, but it's not necessarily what I would consider one that the town would purchase.
Okay,
So,
okay.
you know,
Yeah,
there's
I'm
two
just trying to
different
understand.
things.
Yes.
Yeah, but
I
I'm
would
trying to
love
understand the
if they came
whole,
together, but
yeah, understand, I'm just trying to understand really the short-term rental issue.
I think we don't have a particular ordinance on short-term rentals. We started looking at it, then they passed a state law that limited what you're allowed to regulate and what you're not in short-term rentals. We just kind of stayed out of it. I mean, I think every now
And
and
many
then somebody
municipalities
complains,
do
there's a lot
regulate,
of them.
because they don't want every house to turn into a
Right.
short-term.
And I think that it comes up every now and then, but it hasn't been a huge issue that I'm aware of.
Sure.
But it's something we can always look at.
But if there was, let me ask the most important question. If there was an ordinance, would we derive any revenue from the presence of these short-term rentals?
Don't
You know,
we do-
an
Do
innkeeper's
we know
tax?
we probably wouldn't, because the innkeeper's tax here is county, and
So
it's a
these
countywide.
shorter rentals in the town,
I think
they'd be subject to the
I
county's
think
innkeeper
that, I
tax.
think they are.
We pay
We pay an innkeeper's tax on our
I think
cottages.
they,
Yes.
I can ask Sherry,
I was gonna say, I can call Sherry too.
you can ask Sherry, but I see Sherry quite a bit through the chambers, so I can.
Well, it's unfortunate that they're in the town and the county's benefiting that we're not, that's all.
I
I'm saying.
agree.
We have representation on tourism, right? I mean,
Mhm.
we're supposed to be involved in it, but how much comes back, I mean, yeah, it's,
Or don't they
That's-
have to give us a percentage of that?
We don't pay.
I don't think it's a set percentage.
I don't think, have we
it's
ever
just-
gotten anything?
No.
I think,
as a town you haven't, but as entities of the town you have. But we haven't
Through
gotten
grants
anything
and
from
stuff.
anybody in a while, any requests or anything for.
So
In fact, Sherry said something out today that was like,
So
we haven't had any
Newburgh
requests.
complex that's right there by Danny's Deli, the old Danny's Deli, that's small, it used to be a
Hotel,
hotel.
a
then it-
motel.
then it went into an apartment, so
Mhm.
someone bought it, gutted it. My daughter looked into renting one of those, and she said they turned them into an Airbnb, so that's a prime example of,
Mhm.
you know, you've got people coming in here that are working on the highways, they're looking for places to live while they're at town working.
Nurses,
So, yeah.
everybody's
travel
trying to get
nurses.
in with the visiting nurses
Right.
or the
Cause they make
travel
good
nurses.
money. So, yeah, so that, I mean, that's definitely something to look into if we could.
I know two people right now in my neighborhood who are fixing up or have fixed up houses for traveling nurses.
I'm not against it, I just think there's public policy to be discussed with how the town handles that. Again, because if you take it to the extreme, we probably wouldn't be that happy about it, depending on the number of people that we're doing, so.
I know at one point during one of those community meetings, I know some of the merchants were curious about how many short-term rentals we had, how many Airbnbs we had. And there was a lot of mixed back and forth. You remember that? It was a while ago. There was some mixed back and forth feelings on.
Like 90 of them south of 66 or something like that, some crazy number,
How do you
a year
find it
ago.
out?
I mean, Airbnb, you could just, I mean, you could go on and
I mean,
look.
without going through all the legwork.
Henderson, I think they just adopted something not too long ago because they were having an issue with parties.
Yeah,
Mm.
well, there's a
Right.
difference between, a lot of, again, I'm talking about just things I know peripherally, so don't hold me to this. But it seems that 90 days seems to define short-term from not short-term.
Mm.
So in a lot of the, people who come for transient work, they sign for more than 90 days, so that's a
Right.
little bit of a different animal, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
It's more
Like a
people
residence in type
Yeah.
thing.
Is short-term rentals the same as an Airbnb?
That's generally what.
Okay, wasn't that what
VRBO.
Judy Goodman's house just became down on Jennings?
I don't know.
She
And this
has-
one right across the street was a short-term rental. It's been purchased now, but remember, it
One of
was,
Pembroke's
It was
or
for a long
something?
time.
it was a
Mhm.
short-term rental.
I know,
And sometimes people were there 6 months at a time, but
I know the Schaefer's have some Airbnb going on there, so I think generally it's.
My
usually
neighbor
It's gone on pretty well. I mean,
on
brings
Cypress is
people
an
into town,
Airbnb.
Well, Carol
brings
moved
people
into
into
her
town.
Airbnb.
Or not necessarily a bad thing, but they can
Yeah.
become one maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
if you have too many.
yeah, yeah, I mean,
You lose
because
your-
you lose the community
You lose your
feel,
character.
right? Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's so much you miss out on if you're not
Mhm.
here to stay.
Right.
And we like our community.
Yeah. So do we wanna look into, so basically look into just different ways about if we could
Yeah, I
eventually
need to pull
purchase,
stat.
if we can purchase,
I think you
then
ought to
look at an
talk to him.
ordinance
I think you ought to
for
just
short term.
talk to him. What do you?
We'll talk, but I'm talking about also
General.
In
bigger,
general.
in general, like,
Oh,
you
okay.
know,
Maybe
so.
not that, with that particular property, but is that something we can do? I think we just need to look at what other programs have been and what, I mean, I don't think we have to reinvent the wheel, but we need
No.
to figure out what the way to, if
So-
there are properties that are not being cared for or are available that we think would be good to get and protect. I mean, how would we go about doing that?
And then look at an ordinance for short-term
And I
rentals,
need to
and then
pull
I'll
the-
call Sherry about the innkeeper's tax.
Yeah, I'll pull the statute, because there's a statute, that does limit your ability to regulate them, but we need to look at it.
I thought we were supposed to get a cut of the innkeeper's tax.
So did I.
I mean, I'll call Sherry,
It
or we
goes into a
can,
pot,
Unless it comes in the form of the taxes that we
I
receive,
think
I
it
don't
goes into
know.
a pot, that they manage,
And then
Um,
you apply,
but I understand they have to
like
kind of.
HNI has applied, and they got money, and
Well,
did you
But I-
apply?
So with all the hotels,
tourism.
and particularly there's new ones,
They were
It's-
just doing all that.
I forget the numbers, but it's a lot of money.
Come about
What if-
until after.
And
I'm
it's
not
not
suggesting this, but
Okay.
there's a lot of talk about
You haven't applied for
the
it.
property
Theater
west of
or-
town, and
No,
what if
no.
a hotel wanted to go there?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it should be something to think about.
yeah. Agreed.
well, the last time I applied, I was with somebody who applied for that. They said that they were putting up billboards for us, that we had to send in our information. So it wasn't like a money grant. They were just putting in billboards in Owensboro and different places, and they were
Now we
paying
have
for that.
electronic billboards.
Huh?
Now we have electronic billboards.
Okay.
I'm not-
And they will put, if you have something you wanna advertise, just let Sherry know, and
And that's what I think they're doing.
that's,
So that's
They'll do
our
that.
piece of that, I guess, then.
Yeah, but I
Seems
want
super
more.
indirect, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Very.
It doesn't seem,
I don't think we can like adopt our own. I think it's, you know, that's the way that system works. I've also heard, this is a tangent a little bit, that at different times, like, because Warwick County is going to be and is receiving so much money, there's been talk on the Vanderbilt County side about combining, you know, they wanna combine so that
Sure,
they
they
can get some of the benefit.
That's
That's
for
not,
the-
that's not,
That's for the
That's not-
convention visitor,
Yeah.
bureau function,
yeah,
right?
that's
Yeah.
not, that I know is gonna happen, cause I think
Well,
Warwick
up
County.
until just recently, they were the ones getting the pie, all the whole pie.
So I bet, yeah, I think there's a lot of, and I know that they're forming, tourism is forming a 501c3 to try to maybe separate a little bit, because right now it's kind of, they have to pry the money out of the county council.
Mhm.
Quasi-government
Right.
now, right,
That's,
you
you
know,
know,
yeah.
okay. Anything else on that subject? Okay. Next one,
Our next meeting is next Wednesday at 8 o'clock in the morning, first day of school, in Boonville, second floor of Old National Bank, if anybody wants to come to the
I
tourism.
thought you were talking about council, I'm saying,
No, 8
Talking
o'clock
about-
in the morning,
talking about tourism.
give me a break, tourism, yeah.
okay. Mini, investigate a mini grocery store. Who brought that in?
We've talked about that before also, and I just thought it was worth throwing out again. I talked about, last time that Dollar Gen does village market kind of things in some communities, but I had also heard from somebody at AIM that they had a bad experience with Dollar Gen, so, I don't know, you know, but surely there are other companies that do something similar to that we might look into. I don't know how much room you have to have, I mean,
We
in
don't
the,
want the W thing coming up again.
no, certainly not.
Okay.
We're not talking about a big
Oh, yeah,
grocery,
okay,
we're
thank
talking
you.
about a little grocery.
That's a W word,
Yeah,
okay.
Well,
I don't know,
they have a little one for Walmart, don't they? A little,
They do.
Yeah,
that's what they were gonna
Neighborhood,
do.
yeah.
That's what would the, yeah.
To take it to the opposite extreme away from the W word, there was a little,
Becky,
Key market.
yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Key market.
What, that just,
he
It
was
wasn't-
just getting old and, you know, after a while, you just want to retire from something.
yeah, but was it,
I'm not
was it,
sure.
was it financially viable?
I've shopped there all the time,
Yeah.
but not that I.
don't,
Are you talking about Vecchio's?
Yes,
Vecchio's, which was the little Italian
No,
shop
no,
over here, or are you
Key
talking about Key Market?
Key market.
Key
I'm
Market,
talking about Becky.
oh, you're talking about Vecchio's.
Vecchio's,
They're
okay.
talking about something different.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, they're used to, so St. John's Mother Teresa's used to be a
Yes.
grocery store.
Oh,
And
okay,
it was called Key Market,
yeah,
which was so convenient for so many reasons.
Sure.
Oh, yes,
Right?
it
Yeah.
was.
Eggs, milk, bread,
Yeah.
meat, everything.
yeah,
He just retired, his
Okay.
family didn't wanna take on with it, so the church bought it, and that
Okay.
is what you see.
yeah,
But Vecchio's is the little Italian shop that he's talking about here, which was awesome.
yes,
He got all his stuff from St. Louis.
Yep.
We frequented quite a bit.
yes.
But I think what happened is his wife passed away, and that was her baby, and he just kind of backed away
Yes,
from it.
okay.
She was
Well, he
sick.
moved down the
She
street,
got real sick, didn't she? for a
She
while
was sick.
before she got- yes,
moved to
well,
Jennings
sick.
Station.
Yeah.
Somebody did, somebody moved it to Jennings
Sick.
Station and then it
Yeah.
wasn't.
I
Became
said,
a Target, they became a Target.
It would
Yes,
it'd be
he did.
nice to have like a
They
soda
became a Target.
shop, like
I don't know
ice
how much
cream
of an
thing,
item
not
about
take,
it, but
not
they
to take away
became
from
a
there, but
Target.
like a
Like a
soda
little
shop.
drugstore.
Yeah, a
Drugstore.
drugstore kind of thing.
Like the H.A. Woods in
It would be
Longdale.
nice to have a, it would be nice to have a
like
soda
kind of
shop.
Target?
That would
I've
be
been
something,
told-
that would be nice.
I've been working on the Bardstown Market in Evansville, trying to make a connection
Oh,
with
yeah,
their ownership to have a conversation. It's right there, I believe, on Third or Fourth on Main Street. And the concept that they have, I feel would work best for here.
What's their concept?
It's Bardstown Market, you know where they're building the brand new apartments where they tore down Old National Bank? It's right across the street, and it's not much bigger than this room. But they sell like liquor, wine, all of that. They have a humidor, they have grab and go like meals. They have a small convenience, like more involved than a normal convenience store, so it's got some other products. And it's kind of like a one-stop shop, but it serves like the downtown area in Evansville. And I'm not saying you need this much space, but I think that I want to pick their brain at least and see what their thoughts would be.
There were 2 grocery stores in property that's available right now on State Street. Back in the 40s and 50s, that probably aren't big enough for a grocery store today, but they were there. One was where, next to the real estate office, where there's a big sign that is for sale. The other one was across the street. Actually, there were like 5 of them in 2 blocks on State Street, but those 2 were right across the street from each other. The one that was across the street was a Kroger, and that's next to where Blue Nash is now. That's very small. I don't know that it would be suitable anymore, but, you know, it happened. Then, after that happened, we had 2 convenience stores up on the hill where Chad has 5 Star. That was a
It's a
pantry
convenience store.
Yeah,
like
I
place.
remember that.
And next door, the police station
A
was
pharmacy.
also a convenience store. So, you know, for a while, we were floating in groceries, and then all of a sudden, nothing.
I mean, I don't know how many of you go to Boonville, but the Save You More, I mean, is that kind of what, I mean, have you been to the Save You More in Boonville?
Not in years.
It's great, it's fantastic.
We get the strawberries from Save You More, for Strawberry Social.
No, but it's good, I mean, it's a small store, you know, but you can get your, you know,
Yeah.
instead of going
Yeah.
all the way into Boonville proper or going, you know, out to Jasper.
Do we have any idea, because Jennings Station's under new ownership, is there anybody talking about redevelopment of that?
That would be wonderful, because
Yeah.
it's the most likely
Because that's the most
place.
logical.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
I haven't heard anything, but I'll,
I
I
don't know
didn't
who, I don't
realize.
even know who bought it, but
I was gonna
it's,
say, I didn't realize that somebody had bought it.
yeah, within the last
Just
6
recently.
months.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Well,
So
there
there
was
That's a
was
good
new
conversation to have with
stores
them.
in it,
Yeah.
and they've done some things to the outside of the building
Right?
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
try
there's
to.
some parking and you can walk there from
Mhm.
a lot, part of the town.
Mhm.
And it, honestly, it needs something.
It needs something. It needs a draw.
It does, yeah.
If the challenge with
Parking
that,
is just an issue.
part of the challenge of
And
that
parking's gonna be an issue.
building
Oh, I
is,
know.
so much of it is interior. I mean, it's hard to even know what's inside there.
But
It is.
that's
Right,
okay for
that's-
a grocery though.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I mean, but for
Yeah.
what it is now, they have all those spaces, but you have to actually get in to see who's
And
inside,
they sealed
right?
off that back entrance
Yeah.
by me,
And I know
but I
when
did see
they,
somebody come out there today.
new ownership might be good though.
Yeah.
Depends on
It's
who
at
it
least a
is.
conversation that we're being proactive with the owners.
Yeah.
And the other thing, when we talked about Dollar General before, you know, I think it needs to be something that's willing, like the one that you were talking about in downtown Evansville. And isn't there one, like in the Jacobsville neighborhood also?
That's a Dollar General neighborhood concept. It's not
Okay, okay. That we don't want yellow bags all over town, that we don't want big lighting all over town, that, you know, they're gonna have to conform to
25D.
We can control that.
the rules of Champs-Élysées in Paris. No big lights. We don't care if you are McDonald's.
And we have control of that through zoning and,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
there's an
But
approval process,
I
right?
wanna say that to them up front. You know,
Yeah, sure.
when you tell them, we don't want, we can't have something that's gonna look like a regular Dollar Gen.
But
Or
Jennings,
whatever.
Jennings Stations would be a good place for it.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
All right.
We've got 2 or 3 hair salons down there now, and a new furniture store on the back side, but you know where you're going to
Furniture
find it.
store?
Yeah, it's used furniture, but it's just opened in the last month.
Oh,
Really?
Okay.
Reuse.
Oh, yes, I saw the sign.
Something, I don't know what.
Okay. Park in addition to Lock and Dam Park.
That was me that turned it in, but actually, Ian and I have been talking about this. And Steve, I should have probably talked to you about this, but I was gonna bring it up at the meeting coming up this next week. There may be a reason that this cannot be considered, but we've got that, pump station or whatever right next to, one of the driveways down to the lower Esplanade. And right there where that pump station is, there's quite a bit of land, and people end up parking there anyway when there's like a
here's my
festival.
brain.
You have that in your-
Could that be
Yeah,
turned
but I want to know
into
what the title is.
Oh, sorry.
a few parking spaces to add to what we have?
I think it should.
How
I
long
think you'd
they-
wanna have somebody look at it, you might have, I was, when you and I were there, I was sitting with you and
We were talking
at
about
the
that.
amphitheater.
Oh, yeah?
We were watching people drive by and looking for parking,
Yeah.
and we have this amphitheater event where people park,
Yeah.
and we talked about that
Yeah.
over there.
Mhm.
I just think you'd have to have Drew or somebody take a look at it and see if it's even feasible.
Well, I
Because,
was gonna
because
look
of where
at
it
the
is, and
utility, just to throw it out there.
And it is, so that is outside of Lock and Dam's,
yeah, they come
property,
right
right
down
down here,
They
yeah.
come right down.
And then I can tell you that at one point,
Here.
Christy and I met with Warwick Trails, cause Warwick Trails wanted to come in, and then that section, they wanted to add parking, and then they were going to also they wanted to know if they could do like an overlook. Like they almost like wanted to have parking, then almost like a bump out where you could then,
Oh, okay.
and where that went, kind of after, what was his name? Is it Neville? He passed
Howard,
away.
Yeah.
Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Howard Neville.
Nevins.
Oh,
Nevins.
Nevins.
After he passed, we really didn't hear anything else, so,
Okay.
but that was one of the, many different, how they also talked about putting one at Overlook too. So it was
Yeah.
just one of the trailheads they were talking about, and it kind of really didn't go anywhere, but there had been discussion about putting parking right there in a little Overlook area as well.
Okay.
So is that, it's outside of the park, but it's still town property?
Town
Oh,
property,
it's
yes,
town,
yeah.
It's where we used to store the,
Boat dock, yeah.
The boat dock, yes.
Well, right now, it's just grass space. This is where they used to park the, boat ramp.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
pulled it out.
there's enough there to design, a few spaces that
Yeah, it
are
won't be a
safe and
whole lot.
everything, I mean, how would they?
What do you
gonna
think, Steve, just off the top of your head?
The only thing that I would be concerned about is it's where the trail intersects the parking. You wouldn't want to be driving across the trail to get to the parking. I think that would be a challenge.
Okay,
But, I mean, any place we can find good parking is certainly positive, but I would worry about
I understand what you're saying.
coming across the
Of course,
trail.
right now, it's not the trail, but when you back out of the places of Rockingham Park, that's just murder.
Mhm.
So now,
It's, amazing how many people, you sit there for any period of time, drive past the parking, turn around in that lot,
Mhm.
the little lot at the amphitheater,
Yeah.
and go back down.
Yeah.
It's just it
I
is
do
like
that all the
constant
time.
turning
Yeah,
around,
I
right?
do
Because
too.
you have to, yeah.
Well, if Warwick Trails really wants to do something productive, they probably could do what we talked about doing when we first did the trail. And that was cantilever the whole thing out behind the Lock and Dam building. And then we could get our parking lot back, and we wouldn't have that bumper space between the cars
and the trail,
and the wall.
yeah.
We wouldn't have such a dangerous situation trying to back out. Because the cost to do that from the west end of the parking lot, behind the Lock and Dam building and back out to meet the east end of the trail, was too cost prohibitive. We just couldn't do that.
Because of the cantilever.
Because of the whole thing, it was
Okay.
just gonna be too much. So the only way we could do it was to make the parking lot more dangerous. But, to use part of the parking lot.
Well, that would be a good use of some of the innkeeper tax money for tourism.
Well, I got an idea that speaks to that if you're serious. The whole riverfront redevelopment that goes from here to Mount Vernon,
Mhm.
and where they're talking about spending not tens of millions of dollars, but hundreds of millions of dollars.
Mhm.
And they want to, that is a regional committee that is obviously focused on Evansville's riverfront, but they want to include projects in Newburgh and Mount Vernon.
Right.
And if this is something that matters, we should just weigh in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's
It would
what
start
they've got a
basically.
meeting coming up.
Yeah.
You should be getting an invite, and I know, I think Andrea and I are going.
I figured Josh, it used to be Josh's project, but who's running that committee now?
It was, yeah, it was a woman.
Ashley,
We've hired somebody.
They hired somebody, okay, then I won't know.
but they're, the designers
We
are
met her.
coming in to do like an update,
Right.
and they asked for Stacy's information, and I think Andrea and I are going. but it's in the next month or so, and we could definitely take this there, but that's gonna obviously be some federal money, and
Mhm.
I would wait, and if it was, I know we need this, but I would wait and see what,
I think we need to tell them what we
We do.
want.
yeah.
And it's
Because
kind
they're
of
not
also,
gonna just
I do
come in and
too.
say what.
What they think we want.
Yeah, exactly.
and it's kind of also the reason why when Chris was going and looking at a new boat dock, there's many things that we probably could have done, but we kind of went with what we went with, knowing that this vision is out there, right? And let's get a dock in, right, and then figure out something
Plus,
bigger.
we could always sell
Yeah.
what we're getting in, it should have been here last week, we got part of it, but, the rest of it's supposed to be in after the first. So,
That's definitely, because when that came out the first time, it was a firestorm of
Mhm.
negativity, like they were trying to impose on Newburgh. But the reality, I think, is different than that. But it's definitely an opportunity. I mean, whatever, it's not gonna be anything you don't want it to be,
Yes,
Right,
but if there's money,
right.
yes.
we ought to be at
We
least
ought to use
playing,
it.
right, and not just stiff arm it
and
and
I
say
think
we're not
if you
gonna
leave
vote.
that as much as a blank palette to kind of mirror what they've got potentially,
Yep.
you're gonna capture more of that outside money and just craft it in the way that you want it.
You're right, I've heard the same thing. They want,
Well, they need,
That's
I mean, the
something.
politics of it, just transparently, is they want it to be a regional project.
Mhm.
So
Right.
to be regional, that means they have to come in and do something with us, and I don't think people like all the original suggestions. I'll just,
And for the most
Yeah.
part, they worked great with us. They heard the outcry, right, from the original plan, which is why they paid for that parking study that we're now doing, right, is kind of a, let us help you
Yeah,
It's-
address some of these
But if you look at
these
that
issues.
plan, it's like page 361 and 362.
just 2 pages of.
Just
Two
two
pages of the plan,
yeah.
and most of the stuff that's in that plan, we're working on
If
now.
you read
Yeah.
it, if you read the
So-
plan,
Don't look at the picture, but
you
read
read
the
the
Don't
plan.
look at
plan,
the
there's a
picture.
lot of good
Have you,
stuff.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
weirdly,
good
I'm
stuff.
on the committee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine that.
So
A lot of good stuff.
I have a question.
Can't
So-
imagine
We
that.
went through it, and so after it all came out in the firestorm, we went through the plan,
Yeah.
and we compared it to our own comprehensive
Right.
plan. And there's a lot of
There's
similarities.
a lot of
There's a lot of stuff
overlapping.
that is in there
If
that's
you take that
good
image
stuff.
away,
Right.
Yeah.
it aligns with what's been talked
Right.
about.
So can I ask a question? So if we would be utilizing, it's for the region down along the river, and we have this big Great Ravine project that we know is gonna be coming in the future, is that not one of those things that we could request as well?
Mhm.
To where they can rebuild that whole bridge and put a nice trail on either side to where we're not gonna have
That's
to absorb.
perfect. It's perfect, because they want to do riverfront.
And that's,
Yeah.
Well, it's not really riverfront though, it's in town,
that's,
but
It leads to the
Darn
river.
near in the river.
the federal.
It's gonna be in the river if we
But
don't do
also
something.
connectivity to the river as well is a
Yeah.
big thing to there. It's like, how do you bring this down to the river, right? And how do you bring up, down? So if there is a connectivity to it, even though it's not on the river, they're for that.
I say
Plus
put
the
that on the
federal-
list.
The federal designation of a river trail that they recently passed, and now they're coming forward with the additional ask for funding. It's for the waterways that also feed into the river. So the way I understand it, and I asked them, if we had a project like that, we could apply for some of that funding if it ever comes down from the federal level, and it becomes hooked into that because that's the watershed.
well, that would make Nanette very happy.
Well, there's a,
Yeah.
Cause
there's
that's
a
a big
conference,
project with big dollars.
there's a conference coming up in Louisville in, I think September. And it's like a day-long thing, and I was just gonna hop over there and sit in on a couple of it's all the river communities in the Ohio River.
Yes.
And the group out of Cincinnati and Louisville are kind of putting it on, but they've got different speakers, and when I get more information, I'll pass that out too, but I was gonna drive over for the day and take that in.
And where
Can
did you
we-
say it is?
It's in Louisville.
Can we make it, I'm looking at you because you tend to pull things together, and also, can we come up with our wish list that has to do with what Evansville or the region's doing, and here's how we would like to, these projects we have that affect our riverfront and our connected waterways to the riverfront. And we should ask for
The moon,
a lot, that's right.
the
Yes.
moon and the stars and
That's right,
everything
yes.
between.
And during those initial, when they first were getting up and they had meetings here and they had meetings at, I don't know if it was Ben and Penny's or if it was Honeymoon then, but I remember like Allison was on it and, I mean, there was some pretty big asks in there and
mean, and there's stuff in there that we could latch onto, that's in that plan, that
That's
are bullet
now,
points that
yeah.
we could latch onto. And also, I mean, the parking study was the first step, was to get a handle on what we understand the parking to be and then go from there, so.
And that's the other thing, we need to see what the parking study recommends.
Yeah, sure,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, that was gonna be our springboard into, and they paid for it, but
Can
once
we
we got it
cantilever
back.
a parking garage?
You just got some looks.
I think our YouTube account just spiked.
That was a
Gotta
joke.
run
They
into
said-
office again.
I think
mean,
that's
don't know.
what-
When we,
They
the
said
preliminary,
yeah.
the preliminary that we read on the report that should be
Mhm.
available soon
Mhm.
is we don't really have much of a problem. We have like a lining and signage issue.
Yeah.
And
But I think
I
that's
don't
gonna
know
come
where-
out of it.
I kind of feel, and I think you can speak on this, but I don't feel like there's a need for a garage.
Yeah, no, I was joking.
I was gonna say, for those who are listening,
To it.
he was joking.
Yeah, I know, I know.
It was a joke. Do not call.
I think one of the bigger things there is gonna
Right, write your congressman.
be if you used, not saying what it would be, but if you used one of the open, we have all these open parking lots. If you use one of those for something other than parking or partially used it, is that parking needed? Can you live without it? Can you find another way to do parking? Cause that gives you more flexibility for how you
You mean
want.
temporarily, like we've done with food trucks or
No,
downtown
I'm
activities,
just-
or you mean
I mean,
permanently?
permanently. I mean, if, that's just, I think, something to
Well,
know.
we have businesses whose employees park
Yep.
permanently.
Yep.
All day long in prime parking spaces every work day.
Right.
I was in town last Friday, maybe, about 2:00, and there were 3 cars on one side of that block, second block of State Street, and 1 car on the other side. It was like, what's the problem?
Right.
I don't, like you said, I don't
That's
think
where
we
the
really
little bus could help.
have one. What?
That's where the little bus could help.
Let's go on to your next one, that is yours.
Well, is that the next one?
No, event center.
Event center.
Oh, event center. I know this is a dream, and I really, you guys condemn me for this all the time, but we're sitting on a gold mine down there at the old Luckendam building. I'm sorry, but it looks like crap. I think it looks like crap.
These
And
pictures make it look really good, actually.
We have a chance
It's a
to.
beautiful building.
It's not,
It
it's
is.
not.
I mean,
Would you rent it for your wedding reception?
People do it all the
well, not my
time,
wedding, I mean, people do.
all the time. My brother did, my cousin did. they do
I mean,
all
I
the
will tell you, of all 9 of those rentals, this is the one that is rented
It's
every
because
Friday,
it's
every Saturday, every
affordable.
Sunday.
It's affordable. That's the
I
only
mean,
thing
it is
that's not
affordable, but
It's
the
affordable.
inside is beautiful. We redid the
It's not
inside.
beautiful. It's horrible looking. It echoes
Thanks,
in
Leanna.
there.
Let's
We
talk
worked
about
real
the
hard on that.
dream.
Yes.
and
Yeah, what's the dream?
Step away from,
Yeah.
Okay. I
Don't the buildings.
I visualize, I appreciate your work, Andrea. I really do. You do a wonderful job, but
It's like we've done so much.
I know, honey, I know.
No.
Well,
I mean, it was a control building. I mean, so I mean, it's
Yeah,
what
I
it
know.
was. But
What's
you
your
just,
dream?
you wanna add on to
okay,
it.
the dream that I have is to take each end of it and make it like a glassed-in atrium kind of thing that would make use of the beautiful river, and you could still see through it for the most part without blocking the view of the river. I'm not talking about the entire land, but I see it on either end of the building. There's a private property that Ann pointed out to me that is on, East Gray Street, as you make the little bend and head on out, way past, like Jordan Estates and everything. There's a building, a home on the north side of Gray Street, East Gray, and it has an atrium that's attached, that's absolutely gorgeous. And an atrium-type building that you can see through would be so lovely down there that you could look still straight through to the river. I mean, that would just be just a heavenly place to have a wedding reception.
But then that also now goes back to, you want a massive wedding there, where's everyone gonna park?
Well, that's why we have to come up with our parking. maybe that parking garage isn't such a bad idea after all. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. No
Also,
phone call.
also the only thing, and I know like you're saying this is dream big, and, this is, you know, we have the covenant with National Park Service, so they have to
I know
approve
that.
anything that we
I
do,
know.
right? And this building is technically a historic building through the state, so as far as
I
what you can do.
realize that it would be
But
an
yeah, just,
undertaking.
those are the only two.
And I realize too, we're talking not just 500, 600,000, I realize we're talking 5, 6, 10 million. I mean, I know, it's a big deal, I know that.
Where are you gonna find that at?
I don't know, Annette, but if we let that stop us from everything we wanna do, then why are we here?
Well,
I do think that's fair.
you can dream,
You gotta figure out where to
just dream.
find money.
Well, I
So,
think.
so would it be better to do something with this structure, or would it be better to do something new, not with
A
this
standalone,
standalone, yeah?
But where would you put it?
Yeah, well, that's the
that's the next
Still
question.
a
million
year or
dollar
two.
question, yeah. It's just a thought, because I think just, again, I'm new, so you guys can bat me away, but the historic nature of the structure, you know.
Covenant with the National Park.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of barriers to that.
But there's also a lot of draw to that.
Yeah.
Some people want that kind of feel.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get a handle on you about how
It's
you
probably
wanna,
Christine, yeah.
how you wanna take a historic structure and modify it. That surprises me that you think that's something to
She
consider.
hasn't been my cohort in this.
No,
She
I'm
hasn't
just,
been-
I
For
am trying,
this?
yeah.
No, I'm not a co-art.
And,
Not in this, not
I
in this.
have my
And-
own
and to-
dream for that property,
and to
Okay.
Paul's
and it's
point,
one word.
sometimes renovating a building is way more costly than
That's
building
true.
new. We ran into that when we tried to reutilize the loo, the old pool house, and we created what we created.
Right.
I think it would have been cheaper if we would have taken it down and built a
I
new one,
understand.
but it is what it is, and we did it because we wanted to save that memory of that building, right?
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, I can tell you whatever, knowing how it's utilized now, I think anything you did there would only increase utilization,
Mhm.
right? I mean, so, if you wanna do it, man.
Okay, so
I'll rent it.
why is it so popular? Number one, I think it's the cost, because
I
there
mean-
aren't very many places that you can rent it at. But number two, it's that river view.
Mhm.
Oh,
No
it's
matter what,
100%
that is
the view.
That is our diamond, is the
Yeah.
river view.
And
we
I
need
can,
to
and I
make
can
better
tell you
use
the
of
big thing is when people do rent it, they want to rent, so essentially, this is what all of us say, we rent it, you're renting the building alone, you're not renting the green space, right? People really they wanna rent like the entirety of it, right?
Mhm.
And because of the covenants, we have to keep it an open park, we can't allow
Yeah.
certain parts of the park to be closed off.
Right.
So we say, you know, you're renting the building itself, not the green space. There's plenty of weddings out there, but with that, we say you can have your wedding on the green space. Most people aren't gonna
Yeah.
bug you when you're out there, but many people get married outside and they have the reception inside.
Mhm.
We've had people have their wedding inside, reception at Pres Hall. The cottages are rented a ton. 20 West helps us a ton with the cottages. Most of her weddings there rent our cottages out.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it is utilized. I do think, Misty tells me all the time, she thinks we don't charge enough for that building. From when we
For which building?
locking down.
Oh, okay.
From when I came, I think it was $60. I mean, we're now at $250, I think, for a day. I'd have to look at the number. What is Walking Dam rent for?
170, I think, something like that.
I mean,
We need to look at the
Nanette and I
fees.
have both talked about in 2020, because I don't think we've had a rental increase
We
across the
haven't.
board
For a long time.
in a couple of years. So I mean,
I wanna say at
something
least
to
3
look at.
years.
But also, it does bring in money. I don't want to get it to a point where it's not rented at all.
Right.
Right, but I
You
still
know.
think we should
I'm worried
increase
about
it every
that
year.
with Pres Hall. I'm worried about that all the time at Pres Hall, that we've got it too high.
There's no way. I mean, we're drowning in press hall as it is with money. I mean, it's just sitting there 95% of the time not rented.
Well, it's because it's too damn high.
No, it's not. It's just because it's not what everybody wants.
It's beautiful in there. Don't
It
tell
is.
me it's not
Oh,
beautiful and tell me
it
that
is.
Walking Dam building is.
It is beautiful.
They each have their own.
I've been to 2 weddings in there. It's gorgeous, but not for everybody's taste.
What, Walking Dam?
Well, I've been to 2 Lock and Dam and 2 in Pres Hall this
Oh,
summer.
Pres Hall's beautiful.
Yes.
Lock and Dam's 267.50.
Thank you.
I don't even know anymore.
Which probably is low.
It is low.
Well, my simple dream, cheap, simple dream for the Lock and Dam property, 2 words, plant trees.
Mm.
You know, we talk about parks, park this, park that, parks all over the place. But honestly, we have very few places where people can sit out of the sunshine
Mhm.
and consider themselves in a park.
Oh,
Even at
I'll
Lou Dennis.
tell you.
You know, I know we've lost trees there, but we need to plant more. We need to plant trees. We've lost so many trees in town, most of them on private property. But I really think we need to have a tree planting,
We're working on it.
I know,
Chris has been working on that.
but specifically for
Lock and
our
Dam.
parks. And
I totally
specifically
agree
for
with
Lock and
that.
Dam. You know, for 45 years, the guy that this room is named after said nothing would be
Ever planted there.
on that side of Water Street. Nothing would be planted. Well, it's time to get beyond that.
What, you mean on the south side?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
plant trees on the Lock and
South
Dam
side.
side?
Yes.
Yes.
Controlled, I mean, it needs to
Well,
be
no,
controlled.
it just worries me because it floods so much. I don't know how you get a tree established.
Well, they
Well, it
should
doesn't
grow
flood.
profusely along the riverbank.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
mean,
talking
they're
about
crazy the way
down
it's-
the bank.
Well,
I'm
no, but I
talking
mean,
about-
like, at least once a
Well-
year it gets up in that grass area.
There's trees that you can pick from
That would do well in that
that would
environment.
do well in that environment. And for, like the river, I'm trying to remember. I've got notes that specify, and then that's something we would definitely want to get somebody like an arborist in to come up with a planting plan. But I would be hesitant to do too much planting yet until we look at the,
Yeah, I
the
don't want to
vision.
plant stuff that's gonna have to be cut
Can
down.
we drop that into the,
yeah.
request?
Well, I'm working
for
on
proposal?
the grant for the tree study is like the first step.
Yeah.
They normally have the grant drop around June,
Mhm.
but because of all the stuff at the beginning of the year, I talked to the DNR a week or 2 ago, and they said they haven't released their grant application period. They don't have anybody south of Indy really ever apply for it. And he kind of, I'm on camera, but he kind of implied if we applied and we're the only ones from the south, we're probably gonna get it.
There's a high probability.
There's a high probability.
Okay, good.
So, I mean, because they try to balance that grant around the state, and they never have folks really apply from down here. And it's for tree studies and setting up programs like, I mean, I can mirror the program we did in Evansville in 2016 and 17, and, I mean, we can do that, but it takes a little bit of, there's some stuff that I had that we don't have yet as far as the study, and then with the computer program that we're working on bringing in, we can take that tree study, which will create a GIS layer for just our tree inventory
Oh, okay.
in the parks and right-of-ways. That'll be accessible to where you can put them on a maintenance plan. Every
Okay.
5 years, they're getting checked out.
Okay.
And that way you plant a bunch of trees where they're not, but you got the built-in maintenance plan to maintain them and do the proactive pruning.
I think that's great.
I mean, that's where, I mean, it's gonna be about 3 to 5 years to get all that set up.
Yeah, but if we had a plan and a goal,
But I've talked to Russell, we've got some sites over there on utility property where we can raise our own trees and have saplings with indigenous ones or natives. And then when we have the need for a specialty tree, you plant that in a high profile area that can be accessible. And, I met with the Lock and Dam folks, a week or so ago, and they're 100% on board with the arboretum up there at the overlook. So what we would go for is an overlook and, Lou Dennis first and foremost. You take the existing stuff, you get it mapped, and then you can apply for an arboretum, which also opens up additional grants. We can set up an arboretum after we have the tree study for a couple $1,000. I mean, I can do the work, I know how to do it, I've done it before, and I didn't have any money. And the Southwestern Master Gardeners, they'll also help too. So those folks need so many hours a year to maintain their status. And when they're going through, they have to do stuff like this. And when you have an opportunity, they want those new opportunities. So finding volunteers to help get this thing going
I am also very much in favor of looking for larger trees. Looking, you know, they can be moved, and looking for larger trees, so we don't start out with
A 2-footer.
saplings that aren't gonna be anything in our lifetime.
We found a donor in Evansville that donated $30,000 for that purpose. But they wanted
Dollars or trees?
$30,000. But they wanted us to bring in mature, specialty trees, and we were able to utilize that and do that at our city cemetery. So maybe I'll hit them up, you know, but you can find the people if you have the opportunity. We weren't really advertising. That just walked into my door one day because we had set up the arboretum and they were so happy. And,
And see, there would be people here who would do that.
Mhm.
We have a community of people who are interested in those kinds of things and would want to contribute to that. And we have some people who are really good fundraisers, who know the right people to get things done.
That's true.
I mean, if you remember when they wanted was it H&I, they wanted the live tree?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
we put that call out. I mean, there was so many phone calls, people who came, and we ended up, I mean, I don't know if it was I think H&I paid for it. I think that we took the tree, you guys took the tree out of someone's yard
Right.
and used it as a live tree. So they got the tree out of their yard, and then, so I'm sure there are people that will, if you're willing to pay for it, I suppose.
Speaking of planting an arboretum, don't forget, we own a house already. We own a house out at the sewer plant.
Mhm.
We own a house where he's talking about,
Oh, we're pros,
which was Pro's.
Pro's house.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Russell's
Which
planning
was
on making that
Pro's
their
garden.
offices.
Which ought to be a great place to plant trees if they left any peat moss behind.
Be good
There's
dirt
still a
out
bunch
there.
of trees out there.
well,
I
that's-
like it, I like it.
there's little things we can do by creating our own, there's a whole, I got the whole.
I mean, right now, we know that even if we did something on both ends, I thought you were just talking about one end, but if we did something on both ends, we're not gonna do anything down here or down here,
No,
probably,
no,
unless
still
we have,
plenty of room.
a bump out for the entire trail. But that wouldn't affect the trees.
No, it wouldn't.
Because the trees would be further in. So, I think that's something we need to move on right away.
About 3 weeks ago, I planned a little picnic outing for myself and a friend. Anyway, it was miserable. It was just miserable. The sun,
Mhm.
oh my God.
I mean,
It
I
was horrible.
was gonna say at 4th of July, or July 5th, I mean, everyone was huddled around the one tree that.
It was.
Including
That-
me.
That was in the.
That was
park.
prime space.
It was.
Maybe buy some town, like, fog mister machines for events like that.
Yeah.
That'd be.
That would be nice.
I wonder, I also wonder, I mean, I'm sure people do I mean, I know we're looking at doing the tree study, but then could someone, like, after the tree study, then somebody come in and do here's the best places to plant the trees?
Yeah, the arborist would help with that.
By the way, I think we harvested some seeds.
Did they do the work today?
They did it yesterday.
They gotta bring them to me then, because they didn't bring
Okay,
them.
I was hoping you already had them, so we won't lose them.
What
We
what
have
item are we on here?
We're getting ready to go to number 6.
We're just on random
The
items.
event center dreaming.
No, we
This was
already
kinda
talked
like
about the
yeah.
event center.
Okay, so we could do the amphitheater signage, which is what Leanna's next one was.
Okay, that is something that our entire committee wants to see happen. And I would like to see it on the little grassy hill when you go on either driveway into the parking at the amphitheater.
So that was the example I put in the packet. That was kind of what you're thinking of, right?
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
that's where it
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
And, then, but it needs to
Wouldn't say
be,
senior center.
Stop it.
yeah, it
That-
does look like the senior center.
Well, I used the senior center sign as an
Oh.
example, and I put it on
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
He's being fresh,
The
Deanna.
Kiwanis building has one that's basically the same thing.
Some
It
kind of
could be
sign.
done in
Looks good.
bricks that would match the little brick house and the amphitheater. We can
I like-
change
I like this one.
the printing on it to
I think it's nice.
reflect what's going on, because, I mean, like the summer, from May through the end of September, we've had something every weekend except for 2. And it's unfortunate that we don't have a way to show that now. I don't know whether to even say this out loud, but, someone that's been sitting around this table suggested that the best would be a, electronic sign, because then we could
It wasn't me.
I'm
change.
doing everybody else.
I'm not gonna say, but
Yeah.
as much as I'm opposed to electronic signs, that argument does hold water, because we can change it without someone being in charge of having to go down there all the time and change the letters.
So in the packet, this was, so just so you know, this was the sign that I gave the sign people. What I was thinking of when, because we always talk about how we want entry signs, so people know they're actually entering into a park. So this was the example, and I haven't gotten back any renderings from them, but this was the example I gave of things that I liked for that park. So then essentially, my idea was I wanted an entry sign here, and then essentially where you're wanting to put your sign as well. So I can go back to her and see if there's something else that, whether there's a way to work the two signs together. I don't want two back, you know, we don't, obviously don't want two back-to-back signs, cause then, you know, you're gonna lose it. But how can we incorporate both that are saying that you're entering a park, cause that's a big one for, you know, speed and,
Don't worry
just,
about that, there'll be 2 more signs that say home.
or just acknowledgement that you're in the park.
Who said what?
They're very, very much like
speed
me.
bump.
Oh,
That's not a joke.
Well, we
Right.
have this thing on name and lights though, you know what I'm
You
saying?
know, man. Or, you know, and it just ends up being more work too, and I know, cause I know you wanna put the band or the people that are coming, right? Where, one of the suggestions was if you did a sign like this and you had some, eye bolts, and you could have like a banner that said, like, what Boonville does at their, what's the park in the corner? Johnson Park.
Yeah.
They have a sign that just says, performance this Saturday, and it goes over the park banner, or it's, so it doesn't have specifically who's playing, right, but it's just an acknowledgement that something's coming this weekend.
oh, okay.
So that was one of their suggestions, like, could you somehow utilize the signage and have a banner, or even something closer that just said, performance this weekend, if that's what you're looking for. If you want something that legit says, who's
Chris Wisher.
Chris Wisher, right, then you're gonna get into either multiple banners, or you're gonna need something where you can actually change out. And that would be kind of like what I guess we need to figure out.
Well, we were thinking, we really can't afford to buy banners for every week.
Right.
Even with a little bit of a budget. We couldn't afford to do it
Yeah.
every week. So that's why we were thinking of one that you could actually put letters on or change it out.
There's
I wonder
gotta
if
be,
there's
there's
a
gotta
way-
be other ways, I mean, the sign companies would know, but to have some kind of slot or something where
That's
you
what
can
I'm
have
saying,
a
like-
card that slides in, or something you
So
can
you could
make, that
just
you can
make
print it
like
and
a-
it slides in, it looks good. But there's gotta be a lot of different ways to do it besides
Yeah, I
just the
would think so,
letters,
too.
right, that you put on.
Yeah.
Being able to change the name, I don't know.
would
I mean,
think
I'll
so.
keep
I don't
talking,
know.
I'll keep talking to her, she's
Who
kind,
is, when you say her, who is it?
we're using,
Signorama,
What is it?
Signorama,
So,
Okay.
Signs by Design.
not Signs by Design,
Yeah.
it's the one off of Virginia.
I had contacted
Sagarama.
Custom
Sagarama.
Signs because they had been the one to do others, but they're having some staffing issues. I've been through like 3 people there, and every time I talk to somebody, they don't know what I'm talking about from the person that just left their employment.
So she's kind of holding on this, cause I told her to hold on it because this was what I was envisioning, but then you wanted it, so I just kind of wanted to, maybe I'll try to throw, see if there's a way that we can have entrance sign with the banner, a way to be able to change out easily, see how that
I
works.
kind of like what Chris just said, maybe a long track that, so you have one printed that you put in each week, but not having to do individual letters. That's
Right. So, okay, so I'll talk to her.
I don't know if that exists, by the way.
That's
All
really
right.
smart though, maybe we just thought of an
You invented it.
Reinitiate the waterfront fountain park. Where was?
I may not have called it the right thing.
We called it Reflection Park.
That's right, we did.
Okay.
Yes,
I thought that,
You talking about,
so in
okay,
between,
is the same person
the
own it?
restaurant,
Cause we
yes,
always said
yes.
when at some point we might could revisit it.
okay,
but
it was,
has not sold.
I would say, because that, excuse me. There are covenants with the condos, that
Yes,
nothing can be
correct.
built there or put there?
It's all
very
attached in
limited.
here.
Because
Yeah.
I remember we wanted to put in landscaping,
Mhm.
and H and I was gonna do it. We were gonna do landscaping, we were gonna do benches, and we were gonna do a fountain.
No
Oh,
above
there's the
ground,
whole,
no
the whole
above
plan's on
ground.
the back.
Yeah,
And we even got a grant that we had to turn down.
yes, we had to turn down a
No
grant
above
because,
ground.
And the one owner was elated. It was
Yes.
the lady that
right,
She didn't want
was the
anything.
doctor that was like, I didn't mean anything by saying.
No,
So, no above-ground structures or improvements shall be erected on the
So-
lot, other than necessary lighting or any sidewalk on the lot adjacent to E, no additional lighting, grass, turf.
It was supposed
Yeah,
to
so I
just
mean-
be peaceful, to go there, sit. We have 2 benches there now,
Right.
but we were gonna do a couple more benches too.
Mhm.
And have like a little path that kind of
Mhm.
meandered up to the river and those benches and then meandered back. And then like a little water fountain.
And the other thing we talked about was putting in a parking lot there. Remember that?
that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it had
What-
to be.
No.
We
not
talked
really.
about a grass
Same
paver
time.
parking lot where you could have, it could be still green grass, but it would be reinforced by geosynthetics so that you could drive cars on it, people could walk on it.
Hmm.
It wouldn't,
what are the restrictions that exist with the condo association?
Somebody just read.
So-
They're already here.
Yeah, so they're
So can we do more than we've already done without having to get approval?
pretty much, I
No.
think, when it all came down to it, because we just had orange fencing up for a while, we put up the black fencing, and then we put in the benches, and pretty much that was what I was told was the extent of what we could do.
That's
No,
what I was
I
told.
don't agree with that. What we had designed, we stayed within the parameters of what was expected. Because we knew we were looking at some real limitations. So what we had proposed and what H and I was getting involved in was all permitted things.
No
They were
above,
above
no
ground.
above, no above ground structure.
A water fountain is not a structure, it's squirting water.
It's a
But
structure.
unfortunately, it's a structure.
Is that a structure right out here?
Mhm.
Yes.
I don't think so.
I mean, I don't either, but by
Building,
law,
but it's a
that's what,
structure.
You know that for a fact?
I wrote it.
that, yes, we were told.
Or I,
Well, I was
Involved,
told that what we designed and what we thought was gonna
I
happen
will
was
say, you
permitted.
could argue about what structure means and doesn't mean, but
They're gonna argue
Generally
it too, they
means-
don't want it.
anything above.
But why should we kowtow to one resident when everybody else wanted it, even the man that was right there wanted
It
it?
was the deal that was made with the bank to get the property.
get the property.
And so they wanted to protect the property, they didn't want it to become a place of congregation, or they needed to sell the condos, so the bank owned the condos, it was after the Milky.
I
and,
remember it all, I was
right.
here.
So we made a deal with the bank to get
You
control
signed
of it, and that's the deal they
signed it.
wanted, and we agreed to it, and now that's the deal.
That was
So,
my next question. Who
you know,
signed it?
that is,
She did.
She did.
you can build whatever you wanna build and,
So,
see what happens, but
so ways to unwind it or modify it would just need consent of
pretty
the.
much. And I think we thought,
I think we thought we had it.
that the bank was, you know, to get it, we got it, and we thought, then we'll wait, and when they sell, we can go to those people and they'll understand. I didn't have any conversations with the person, but, you know.
But she has been cantankerous about everything that's happened down there. She's just evidently that kind of
This
person.
is me, I know the situation better than you do.
But it might be worth, having a
Personal
conversation
property.
about it and seeing what we can come up with. But,
Can't tell people what to do with their
I
personal.
think that's
Cause
good, I think it's good to keep it on the shelf.
That's not her personal
Keep
property.
it on the
Well, it
shelf
is
and
what-
keep bringing
It's
it up.
part of it.
town
is.
property.
Yeah.
But
I
her
think
part,
it's-
her part, and it says in that document that she can say what happens in there.
Yeah,
It's not her.
it would need to,
Well, I know it's
that
not her
any
property,
change,
but-
she would have to,
Cause I think we
the
even,
owners would have to approve.
cause I think we even, once we agreed to put the 3 benches in, which we've only put 2 in, I think we even just wanted to do a path and that was
It's all
being
tricky. And we think if we keep it around, I think it's good to keep bringing it up because eventually maybe something changes. and
Maybe she'll
we can
die,
go.
or she might move away. Or she might start having children and want them to play.
So,
Okay.
but yes, I think it's worth keeping that on
We
there.
want that
So it's all there, we have it.
We won't forget about it. Kentucky Energy Project. I'm not even,
It was an
Chris, will
email
you-
that came out
yeah.
and
And I put the
forwarded
email
on.
in here. So.
Okay, and then I sent you with the judge executive, I don't think that's in here, but I reached out after talking to Chris to the Henderson County Judge Executive, and he sent me another proposal, but, that is more what they're working with, but then there's an update in the back. And the judge executive confirmed it'll be a year before this even gets brought up. And from the message in his email, he acted like it's not even gonna get permitted over there. He would be surprised. But I made, our economic development folks on this side of the river, some folks from Evansville, Chandler, Boonville, some of the county folks. I passed everything along, both from the lady and the judge executive, because I said, the lady's image was really concerning, because from the riverfront, you technically might end up seeing some of those tall windmills. And I mean, I'm
They're
all
pretty
about-
tall, and the
100
Spotsville's up on a hill,
tall.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Are we
blink
talking about
all day and night.
No, we're not talking, Henderson
Henderson is-
County's talking about putting a
There's
windmill
somebody,
farm.
there's a developer
I
that's
saw that
talking
on the
about
news.
doing it, and
But we would see it over
you
there?
might if it was close enough. I mean, it's hard to know
Oh,
what I told Chris, I mean, I've seen, there's been a lot of, there's a lot of stuff on Facebook about it. It's hard sometimes when you get opposition, even, information from an opposition of something to know what the real deal is. So I suggested I would hate for the town to go on record at the wrong time and about the wrong thing.
Yeah, because if you look at a map, it's all south of Highway 60. The problem is, like, you can see Spotsville's water tower, and that's
Yeah.
on Highway 60, so you
Yes.
can probably see
Very
it.
well could be,
You probably see
but
it.
it sounds like there's a long way for it to go. They're trying to get there's even debate on Facebook about what the proper forum for a hearing or public hearing, and whether a statute allows a public hearing, or it may go to plan commission, but, I mean, I think the best time to go on record on anything would be when there's actually something.
And the last article I attached in here, and I think stuff that Chris sent out, they passed a resolution, that halts it until July 1st of 2026, just the discussion.
Just to
or-
discuss it,
Yeah,
yeah.
the actual, yeah.
I sat next to the judge executive, ironically, at a different event the week before. We traded information, and I think he was surprised that I reached out. He told me, he said, if you ever need anything, call me, and then Chris brought the idea forward, so I left it open to where I would check in periodically, and I asked if they had any movement, if he would do the same, and that's kind of where we're at. But
Okay.
I
He's
think you're
getting
gonna
pounded
be
on
as
Facebook.
optimistic as you wanna be, but a year will be here in no time.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
sure.
saying
Yeah,
keep your eye on
goes
it.
very quickly, and that's why I asked to keep this on, even though we received information that it maybe won't happen. It's not the first time you all got what I sent out after I got this. I don't know why all of you didn't get it, but some of us got it. So that's why I asked that it be on here, because this year will be gone, we'll be sitting here another year,
We need to be aware of it.
and we need to be, we just need to stay on top of it.
I think that's right.
And I sat through a lot of this when I lived in Massachusetts on the Cape. I mean, it was a big deal out there, and there are some areas that just,
I don't know if you've seen it, I mean, maybe you've seen it, but among all the other things that are talked about in Washington, it seems like Trump, president has a thing against windmills, so he's saying there'll be none, there's not gonna be any windmills built in this country, so whatever that means, I don't know, but, there's probably a lot of story to be told, but I think keeping our eye on it is good. I just
Yeah.
thought it's important to know what's really going on so that we don't stub our toe and.
Yes, we need to be,
Or maybe we can
Cash Creek
find.
had been built right over here, we'd be worthless, seriously.
Find the endangered Indiana brown bat, maybe have some habitat.
Right.
That'll put a stop to it.
it will.
all right, bus trolley for visitors. I think that's yours, Leanna.
yes, I keep bringing this up. We've had a history of having first the double-decker, and then we had the trolley. The double-decker was donated by Women's Club back, I don't know, 30 years ago maybe, 30 back. And it was utilized for many years, and everybody loved it. And unfortunately, it was a British-built vehicle, and as it started to age, you could not even get parts for it anymore. I think you even had checked when, didn't you, or was that Dan Schultz? You
Newburgh
guys.
is very close to the Leyland, the British Leyland factory,
Okay,
where we might have been able to get parts for it.
but it was built in like 1 or 2 of the short years where they just didn't continue to build those, so we could not get parts for it. And we sent a mechanic that was on one of our merchant committees down to somewhere in Atlanta to try to get parts that he became aware of, and that didn't work. So anyway, bottom line is we had to get rid of the trolley. Then, or the double decker. Then we were given a trolley from one of the cast-offs from Evansville.
We bought it.
And we, okay, and
They
we,
give it to us.
well, it was
You guys
pretty
got
cheap.
it in 2008.
Okay, and it was somewhat short-lived, I don't remember how long we used it, but,
It stopped operating in 2014.
okay, so only about 6 years. But it had equal number of issues, and, at that point, we were utilizing storage up on, the hill by where the cottages were, and it was parked in one of the, I guess it was like the garage building, wasn't it, up there? Both vehicles, I think, were housed up there. But that is an issue, where are we gonna put it, where are we gonna keep it? I'm not sure I'd want a double decker or a trolley. What I would like to see is us buy something that could be renovated. Now, you're gonna laugh, but I would like to see it look like a riverboat.
You mean a bus or a,
Yeah, but it would have a look of a riverboat.
Like
gotcha.
a Rose Parade float?
Yeah, sort of, only without flowers. Anyway, I just think we need a vehicle. And, the people love it, and how much are we paying? H&I especially paying in rentals every time there's any kind of an event, which it seems like our town should be having something like that, and,
How much, how much was it utilized day to day versus was it only used for events?
it was only used for events, but I see it as something that could offer alternatives to some of the parking for the merchants.
Could be rented for the weddings and the other
True.
activities. But I'm concerned, would it be a stern wheeler or would it be a side wheeler?
How about that thing that goes around in the back, what's that? A paddle boat.
Stern wheeler.
We are a town of
It's stern wheeler.
3,500 people.
Okay, just need to
We drove
clarify.
around, HPC, did you ever do that, where we drove around and looked at, in the
No,
trolley?
that's the other
No,
thing.
that's the minivan thing.
That's,
This
No,
is a
I wasn't in
trolley.
the minivan, I was in the trolley, I'm telling you, I never got in that minivan.
oh,
So we rode around in the trolley and looked at properties on HPC one time, it's probably like 20,
Could
like
sneak
Frank
up on the
Boylos
bus.
was our guy.
Since the town last had this, the requirements for licenses and stuff that would be required to all passengers have gone up immensely.
And I put it in the back of the, I put it in the back of the
I thought
packet.
that was updated.
We had, our drivers before had to have some kind of special license.
There's a special
Well,
You need a
passenger
CDL,
license.
public passenger license.
Anything that's 16 people and over, you need a CDL. And this is the problem whenever Chris and I met with Watts. This is what Watts is running into, not being able to get people to
It's,
get their
there's-
CDL.
there is a real shortage of CDL, particularly public passenger CDLs.
but I thought we had to have that back then, I thought we did. We always ended up getting
Or it might
drivers.
just be the requirement now to get it, like what she
It
was
used to
saying.
just have like a chauffeur's license for those Watts types buses, but they
When I was
changed.
talking about the trolley, when we used to have the trolley, I thought we had to find guys that had a CDL. I'm sure
Yeah,
we did,
we
because
did.
my nephew
Plus-
drove it, and he was a CDL licensee.
Plus they had to be trained since you drove on the other side. Everything was, you were driving a British vehicle.
We didn't drive it on the other side here.
No, we didn't, but it was inside.
Inside, the steering wheel was on the opposite side.
So we also had lessons in driving it,
Okay.
had to practice.
Okay,
So, I mean, and maybe they did, but I think what she was saying at Watts is the physical tests to get a CDL now, some of the other things to get the CDL is a lot more difficult. So, and the cost, and so when they were, because Watts is just, this is just really hitting Watts, because they used to be able to get drivers, and now some of the people, like she's saying, that some of the older folks that she was using to drive them can't pass that physical requirement to get the CDL. So they're running into a shortage of CDL drivers as well on their side of things. So, I mean, that's just one.
The NPO has a RFP out right now to look at a regional transportation authority that would include Warwick, Posey, Vandenberg, and Henderson counties. And they're supposed to do a study on that later this year. And they're talking about forming a regional transportation authority. And I would highly want to see what that looks like before we go committing to a vehicle, because if you form a regional authority, they might have something available that you could bring in for special events and stuff. Now, it might be a year or two down the road, but I would rather let them maintain it, find the drivers, and then figure out some sort of agreement with an RTA to do these special events.
And when H and I, rent through the limo, SUV limousine, it's $600 for a normal event, for one. And we usually have two. And,
Like a shuttle bus, you're saying?
yeah. So it's
and
usually
you know what?
12.
I have encountered this personally, when you go to get on one, the limo ones do not accommodate somebody that has a little bit of difficulty
Right.
disability-wise.
And I'll tell you something else. We, in the past, have been able to rent the buses through
Yes. Once.
Warwick County, through Warwick County
Oh,
to
the
use
school
for,
buses, yeah.
and we can no longer do that.
Oh,
So we had to, for the fireworks, we had to rent buses through Evansville,
oh.
and they did not have enough of the special ed buses or the handicap buses
Okay,
to rent us, I guess, because they had all been used the night before, or what, I don't know what the reason was.
yeah.
But we can't even use our own county's school buses.
But the Watts buses, you can't get them anymore?
No, we can get them, but we have had troubles getting drivers.
Oh, okay. I just remember encountering that a couple of years ago, when I parked my car at Newburgh Elementary, waited for the little bus, the limo bus thing pulled up, and I could not get on it. And she said, honey, there's one of those Watts buses coming up right behind me, get on that, you'll be able to measure that.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
With a regional transportation authority would get federal funding, and per federal funding, like in Evansville, when you have an event, and they wanna open up the buses system for free for that event, so like you can apply, and if there was a regional authority, you could apply to make whatever bus routes and stuff are expanded for special events, and they can make the system free. There's so many of those a day.
So would that include us?
Yeah, if we become part of a regional transportation authority,
Oh,
the RFP is out now.
okay,
They're gonna do this study, and I think I'm probably gonna be on the committee that gets
Okay.
appointed to that. So they'll be studying it next
Okay.
year, and they're looking at moving that forward. And it's something ideally we should have done as a region
a long
15
time.
years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
But essentially, imagine hopping on a bus here and being able to go to downtown Henderson on
Yeah.
a bus for one fare.
Yeah,
That's what that
That's
opens
cool.
up. Or to go to Mount Vernon or anywhere in that.
I like the
Well, I'm just,
concept.
but it's also gonna work both ways. If people from Henderson, Mount Vernon, anywhere in Vanderbilt County wanna come here,
yeah.
they can hop their bus and do it. It
It's
just,
revolutionary. I used to do that when I was a kid.
Oh, I
I'd get on
know.
the bus and go to Owensboro.
Yeah.
You get on the bus and go down to University of Evansville for a piano lesson. Bought your bus ticket right up here on the corner. Yeah.
but right now, they complain about the problem when Andrew and I met with Watts, the handoff between Watts and Metz. I drove out and looked at it because I didn't believe her. It's a field off the side of the road. The grass is about 6 foot tall. There's a little mowed out area. It's not at the, you would think it would be over at the Deaconess area.
It's at Stall Road, right?
But it's,
Mhm.
yeah, it's on
Yeah.
Stall Road, and it looks kinda, I don't know if I'd feel comfortable changing buses there, and I'm a pretty good sized guy, so you know, you take away having to do those handoffs because everybody would be under the same system. And you could put a handoff where it made sense. And, you know, whether you're in a shopping area, commercial district,
Not because one doesn't
Why,
want it.
why did they choose
she didn't,
that spot?
She, during that meeting, she said that they wouldn't come into Warwick County.
yeah.
There used
Well,
to
That's not in
be,
Warwick County.
Because
No,
that's in
Saw
Vancouver.
Road isn't.
but there
Son of a
used to
gun.
be a changeover at Gateway Hospital.
Yeah,
That's when
that's
they
changed.
first-
But see,
I
if
could
you,
get it done.
if you put an RTA in, they're all the same.
Mhm.
Yeah, because they didn't want to come in and then come out.
But, you know, again, there'll probably be, I mean, hold your ears.
I know.
No, that was,
There might be, I was gonna tell her to hold her ears, there might be some additional costs, but that's still gonna
Hold
be.
your ears, Nanette, hold your ears.
But that'll be studied, and, you know, like I still go back to, minus our natural disasters, that first post that I posted about Watts on the town social media page is still one of the highest responses that I've seen outside of the flood or the ice storm stuff, and the fireworks.
I would be in favor of us trying to pursue that, however, it's not gonna be cute. I want it cute.
Oh, but she wants the
Trolley.
trolley to be cute,
Or
or
a
the,
riverboat or a double decker.
Well, it was unique to have a double decker,
Yeah, it was, cause
and
it also was.
especially an old one with
Yeah.
that history that it had, because it was brought to the United States when the Queen visited Williamsburg in 1976. So it was pretty special, and it's still out there. Ben Bush has it out in his, one of his big buildings.
Mhm.
he has the trolley ticket.
All right, on to the next one, Town Hall Vehicle Minivan.
I kinda like the idea of having one of those buses driving around. I didn't remember we did that, Chris.
We did it.
I don't remember.
I remember.
Well, anyway, for years, many years, we had a town vehicle, like a minivan, that was used for other purposes too, but it was available for any of the committees to utilize during a committee meeting if they needed to go out and visit a property. We used it for all kinds of the committees, like planning commission or BZA or whatever, to take a ride in it to go see what we were talking about at the meeting. That went on for years, and then, I don't know, I think the minivan finally just gave out, and we
It
didn't
was in
replace
it was in 1991, and it was still being used when I got here in 16, so it was,
Pretty old,
she was on her last leg.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it'd be a good thing, I think I brought this up in finance, you know, with Riley starting and we're out and about, I mean, right now with code enforcement, if we need to go check on a property, we're in our own vehicles, so really no one knows who we are, until we get out and have our names, you know, conferences, summits, if we wanted to go up there and not use our vehicle, right now we turn in mileage, but if we wanted to use that instead of our car. I did talk to Susan, she said when they had the van, like right now the girls when they go to mail all the bills, they put them all in their personal car, they go to the post office, that way it's there, and they wanna run to the post office and not use their mileage, so.
They
there's
come
a
to the
lot-
bank in their personal cars.
Right, so there's a lot of things that are, you know, like right now Anna's truck is in the shop, and so she's using her personal vehicle for all her maintenance runs and maintenance stuff, so if she could use it right now while, you know, her truck.
It'll probably plays havoc with our insurance too. Everybody using their own private vehicles.
Yes,
They what?
It probably plays havoc with our insurance with everybody using their.
Well, I think we looked
Private
into
vehicle.
it, yeah, and we've talked to, Brian about it with property, like if there was an accident and you're in your personal property, or your personal
It'd
vehicle,
It'd still be
just-
covered, but it just is another layer of hassle.
Right, right. So it's just one of those things that I think would be good to have. I know Nanette's worried about it sitting and just not being used, but I really do think, I mean, the amount of code enforcement that we go out on, the property checks, I think it'd be
I
utilized
like your
in that
point
way.
of it being labeled as a town vehicle on the
Yeah.
signage. And you go pulling into a neighborhood and, you know, I can see some of the neighbors calling the police saying, hey, there's a couple of cars that's just parking out here and taking
Walking around.
pictures and, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I used to,
Hasn't happened yet.
I used to drive, like if Tavy or Kelly wanted to take pictures or take notes, one of us would usually drive, right, so the other person, and there's been a couple times we stopped and someone be in their yard doing something, they're like, who are you? We're like, we're from the town.
Yeah.
I swear we're the town, or,
Yeah.
you know, so, we're not just some weirdos taking pictures of your property, but, yeah, so I mean,
I
you
think
know,
it's fair to look into who could drive it, you know, to make sure that we're covered.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, we let H&I drive our gators, I'm not even sure if that's allowed, I don't know that we've ever checked into that, but.
Also to
Insurance
conferences and, you know, when we went, gosh, all kinds of places, to funerals, to any place the whole council went, or into Indianapolis to AIM, we always took a police car and the van.
Yeah,
Well, I think you should look into it.
and I think Cook had said that he was gonna just look around, and we look around a lot on Enterprise,
I found some pretty decent buys on Enterprise.
so we're gonna look
What
into.
were you gonna say before you got, what was you just?
No, I think that before we can take any action on it, we need to know what all's involved from an insurance and a cost standpoint. But I think it's something we need to pursue.
Andrea, would you check on it?
Yep,
We've already got a lot of it already done.
Well,
I'll
I
look on
want
the
Andrea
insurance
to
one.
do it.
I'm sorry?
I want Andrea to do it,
Sure, it's okay.
because she was familiar with what we used to do. You weren't here then.
All right, what is this ambassador committee?
Okay, well, you know, this might be something that H&I is sort of doing, but I'm not sure they've taken it to the next level. We used to talk about this and it never really got off the ground, I mean, years ago. Right now, we're at a point where we've got quite a few vacancies in our downtown. And I remember when I had my shop, I was contacted by the city of Evansville a couple of different times where they approached me and said, would you be willing to open up in our town in Evansville? And when you're shopping there, and then you try it for a few months, we'll help get you some incentives financially, because they had vacant buildings that they were concerned about. One, what we ended up going into was the old post office place. I just would like to see us maybe take a proactive stance on something like that. Now, I realize we'd have to talk to the property owners, I understand that, and see if they would, be okay with us going out and trying to do that, but I would be willing to go out and, be a part of something like that, to contact other businesses. I don't know where H&I is, since they don't really communicate stuff like that, but I know they have that, what's it called, the co-op committee? No, that's not right.
the merchants have the co-op.
Okay.
The merchants
Merchants.
co-op, or the
What
merchants.
is it that meets all the time?
We have
That's
the
the
community meeting.
Oh, okay. Well, one time when they came here and I happened to be at the meeting, I don't know if it was a public meeting or what, but I know Chris Schaefer was a part of that. And, you know, Chris has a lot to gain for something like that to be pursued. I think people that are involved in business, maybe realtors, maybe not, could be beneficial to us in trying to take an aggressive approach to, trying to lure other businesses to come to town. It's just an idea,
Well, what you're talking about is economic incentives,
if we could.
so, because that's, you know, money talks, right?
Right.
So if we would help people, if we identify what we're trying to accomplish and provide some incentives, I think that would be helpful. So I don't know what the structure looks like around that, but.
I mean, maybe Chris and I can look into, I don't know if Evansville has any programs like that, or.
Well, they did at one time, 'cause
Well, I
that's
used
how
to be a
ended up.
chamber ambassador in the old Evansville Chamber, and I know how we ran the program. I would recommend getting with the work chamber, since the business collective in downtown's kind of defunct. I think we need to meet with the work chamber and talk about maybe a program under the work chamber, but more focused on just the town of Newburgh. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, we could just maybe put something together, kind of under their guidance. Because my fear is in the business community, they wouldn't want to be directly associated with government, but they might better associate with the chamber.
Well, this was the
Chamber.
chamber that approached me.
Okay.
And I would not have done it if it had not been that they came after me.
Well, that's what I'm saying, if we do something like this now, I think Andrea and I should reach out to the work chamber, and I can talk about some of my experiences 20 years ago in Evansville, 'cause that would have been about that time,
Yeah,
where we would go to all the ribbon cuttings, we would approach businesses in the region and try to get them to come to Evansville. And if we set something up like that, to put it under the umbrella of the work chamber,
yeah,
that way it helps the chamber have their connections with the business community here in town, and we're not having to reinvent the wheel totally.
that's a good idea.
Maybe we need
HNI
to, and the chamber shared an office for years, where Cleo's is.
Okay.
They had no office in Boonville at the time that I'm aware of. HNI had the chamber phone that rang in their office here, and there was a big sign on the side of the building that said, "We're at Chamber of Commerce."
I think there's an opportunity there, and I'll get with Andrea, let's try to set
I'm
up
just
something.
thankful that when Flutter went out, something was able to go in there. I thought it would sit there vacant for months and months and months, but that's good. But here, we're still sitting on something, you know, that I owned for all those years, and I feel terrible that someone that I thought was gonna be a dynamite person, because she does have a dynamite shop, but I think they overextended or something. We sit on that cornerstone icon building for how many years? 5?
No,
Longer?
7 at least.
It was about the time Ken died, and he died at 18, so that would be 7.
But if
So-
you're okay, I mean, I'll work on that with Andrea.
Well, maybe we need to reignite the Economic Development Committee.
So,
That's what this is.
What is it?
Isn't that?
Well, you're talking about the Economic Development Commission that we have on the thing, that's,
Is that's something
the
different?
function of that is for certain bond issues
Bonds,
that
okay.
involve a lot of different, but what you could do is a lot of things that you can do, but what Ward County, all knows what Ward County has is an economic, it's something they created, it's not statutory, it's an economic, development advisory council or commission that, is basically an advisory, you know, to meet and bring things to redevelopment commission, but you could create some kind of committee or commission that has the right people on it that can, it's hard to do it in public meetings, particularly now, but to brainstorm, to think through, to work on economic development ideas. I mean, we have the Growth and Progress Committee, it's got a little bit of that, but it's more staff, that's more technical staff working through things. You need people outside.
I mean, the challenge is just to think about what incentives
Yeah.
people want, because
Right.
they won't come just because they're invited. I mean,
Right.
You need to give them a carrot,
And what could we do to
yeah.
make
What
it
kind of
attractive?
carrots could we
I
give
think
them?
it's,
Yeah, right.
it's difficult, small business is difficult, and they're small margins, and we get I think that the town needs to create the environment and the incentives and the right, to attract the right ones here, just kind of thinking they'll come. I've always worried that at some point, you could find that the town, that there's not a lot down here, because it's so easy, and make it so easy out there, right, to have a business, and have the traffic, and have everything, that it's too cumbersome down here, you know, so
Circles
what
back
are
to
those
the-
things? But
Circles back to the grocery issue
Yeah.
and other issues
Right.
that we've already
How
talked
do you,
about.
how do you do that? So that's, I don't know.
Well, they did offer us free rent for a period of time, and,
Well, there are,
I mean, it was attractive, and they made it sound like they wanted us, which is always appealing, but the free rent was the thing that made the decision.
there are certain kinds of businesses that want the ambiance that we have downtown.
Sure,
You
okay,
know, Girlfriends
That's
is
right.
case in point.
yeah,
Girlfriends started out over at Sharon Place, which was fine, until the place burned to the ground. Then they moved out into the strip by
Bellows.
Prime Time and so on. That didn't work out for them. For one reason or another, that didn't work out. They came back to downtown, which I considered to be a real win for downtown.
Yeah, I
That-
think so
that-
too.
That they'd been here before, they knew what they were getting into, and they
They
chose
still came
us.
back, yeah.
And so, you know, if you fertilize that ground that we have for businesses of a certain kind, and those are also the kinds of businesses that attract people, you know, they're different, they're unique, they're one of a kind, they're, you know, that's what's gonna bring people in, not the big box stores.
Okay, so you guys are gonna reach out to Chamber,
Chamber, yeah.
And I'm gonna talk to the collective too, because
Okay.
there's well, what's left of it.
yeah,
And,
okay.
kind of
What's,
brainstorm.
does anybody have any miscellaneous that they want to talk about?
I'd like to just say one thing, and that is that Senate Bill 1, the ramifications of it have really got me concerned. And I think with the current state administration and their philosophy and what they're looking to do right now, that maybe the most progressive and visionary thing we can do is make sure we have a strong and solid financial position. And a lot of these ideas are good ideas. Some of them are things that we might want to implement at any given point in time. Some of them are things that might be down the road. But I think we need to be very cautious on how we move forward. And even though that's not what my nature is, I think the ramifications, as I say, of SB 1 are enormous for us, and they could be long-term. So I just want to make sure that we all keep that in the back of our head, as I know we have.
I think that's right. I've been talking about it this week, you know, because of SB 1, because of the constraints. It's obviously frustrating because I think part of what we do, part of what I do, the staff does, what you guys want to do. But what I like about this is trying to figure out how to help you guys do what you want to do. And so it makes it more challenging, but that's what we kind of need to figure out is all these, I don't think you should stop coming up with ideas and thinking about what you want for Newburgh. It's just more challenging for us to work within the framework that we have, especially the long, I think the restriction on growth is problematic but manageable. We are in a really good financial situation, and there's good amount of, you've got some cushion with the reserves and everything, so that's great. The trick is what's gonna happen 3 years from now when with the LIT. That's the unknown. That's the kind of the cliff that, you know, you don't.
Is it really 3 years away? I thought it was in 26.
2028 is,
Yeah.
2027 is when you have to go ask. 2028 is when
When
it
you
goes
get,
into effect.
okay,
And so, you know, we can hope that it's gonna be, you know, the same or better or whatever, but that's where it's like really kind of scary when you think about it. So you don't wanna do things that are gonna be long-term commitments and things like that. But anyway, my point is just, we have to know the financial landscape and
Right.
work within it, but we can try to find ways to make that work.
Well,
I agree with
I
you,
had
I
asked-
agree with what you said.
Originally, the finance be on this list, but was advised that it wasn't a very good idea. But what I think is, we need to look now at what we can cut. And there are some things that I think we can start cutting now. Maybe some travel, some workshops, whatever. Those kinds of things may afford us certain things, and the ones that do, we can pick and choose maybe. But, you know, it just seems like there's a lot of spending that isn't necessary, in my opinion. We get back to Pres Hall for just a minute. You know, the reason the town bought Preservation Hall to begin with was to use as a town hall. What if we went back to that theory and redid it one more time and moved some of our offices there? I hate to lose it as a serene, peaceful place that it is, because I think it's got a great vibe. But if it's gonna suck us dry, then we need to look at some other options, and I don't like the option. Yeah, quit that, quit, stop that. Chris is kicking me under the
Stretching my
table.
legs. I just stretched my legs there.
Anyway,
I mean, Nanette and I
if we
were
move sewer back, we move the clerk treasurer's office back, maybe that's what we need to do, so it's used every day, so somebody's in there all the time. That's just a thought.
And Nanette and I were talking about it today, the water issues, and it's looking pretty bad down. It just keeps, you know, so every 6 months I'm scraping the walls and I'm repainting them, right, just to keep them looking nice for all the weddings. Because once September hits, September, October, November, I'm pretty booked with weddings, right? The rest of the year is kind of hit or miss. But we talked about multiple ways to utilize the building, but my only worry is even utilizing it without fixing the water issue, we're gonna have to keep doing what we're doing anyways, right? And it's not gonna, it's gonna affect that foundation of that building, so.
Is the water issue mostly on the first floor, not upstairs?
No more, well, we have a little bit of a drip upstairs by the elevator, but that's been there since the dawn of time, or since that was put in 05, 06. It's not the dawn of time. But the big issue is downstairs where
That's
where
what I
the
thought.
museum was.
Yeah.
It's that wicking of water up.
Yeah,
So, you know, we went through that whole thing, we drilled into the bricks, we put that stuff in that's supposed to stop the water from wicking up. That really hasn't helped. There's a massive report I can send to all of you guys again. I know it went out, I don't think Paul's probably seen it. But there's 3 options that's been given by Commonwealth to fix it. We don't think the drainage was done right when they did all the repairs in 05, 06. So we think a lot of water is pooling underneath, which is why it's wicking up. They filled that basement with pea gravel, which doesn't allow, so the water just kind of sits there. Plus, you know, it's at the very end of Main Street, so the water comes down. So there's a lot of water issues, and I think the range is from a quick fix at like 40, that maybe not, to all the way to almost, I think, 200, I
And
think.
it's still not 100% guarantee that it's gonna fix the issue.
So,
We spend more money taking care of that building than we do make money on.
as
So-
long as I am around, which may not be much longer, I'll just have a connection about getting rid of Historic Preservation Hall. I will.
Well, Andrea can get her stuff together, and I put together a revenue versus expense report as well, and we can get that out to everybody so we can see exactly how much it cost us to have that building. So
And,
then
you
you
know,
guys can
and-
make that decision.
you know, I even talked about with her today about what if we, you know, if sewer moved in here and chambers went over there, right? And that way we could constantly have meetings in there, you know, Jim Rennie and Troy Wells, I've talked to them, they think having people in there more will help with the building, the humidity, and you know,
But you
all
gotta get it
those-
cleaned up before you can have people in there, because you don't wanna expose.
Right, so, and so it's all things that we're constantly thinking about it, you know, but yeah, we can send stuff out so everybody can look at it. get
Could
that.
you utilize the upstairs still as a rental for weddings, but keep the downstairs for some offices?
Depend on how we,
Okay.
just, you know.
So the items that you all have talked about this evening, and that I will incorporate within the budget for next year, is the tree study, because we get a big bang for our buck when we do that. The front entry sign up for the amphitheater, Andrea will get quotes for that, and then I have already looked into minivans, so we can get that worked in. Those are short-term expenses that I'm not concerned about.
And the sign
So-
should be wrapped up in that motion they made when they made that motion for all that sign work.
Okay, I just need some money, some prices on that. But, I mean, I agree with Chris. I mean, there's never anything bad about dreaming. I mean, you could always dream, but as long as you're conscious about the dollars, as you know, Steve said, you know, we're trying to be optimistic that there'll be changes as we move forward through this process, but we have no guarantee. So we'll just have to see what happens.
And I would encourage everybody to think they ought to have it, right, that comprehensive financial plan that Baker Tilly provided. Look at its summary, but look at the report itself, to give you a good idea of what the situation is now and kind of what we know, what we don't know, but it's a really good summary of the finances. It's really, I mean, and I think you'll find that as kind of dire as it is, it's not the end of the world, and maybe there'll be some changes coming at some point that might be better.
Yeah.
I have a miscellaneous item.
Sorry, what'd you say?
A miscellaneous item.
Oh, okay.
At lunch, I met with the individuals from VS Engineering. It's the gentleman that spoke at our last meeting about the lot. He gave me this handout to share with you, and he's gonna get with me and Chris and Andrea and get some information together. Maybe they would be more than welcome to come, or more than wanting to come in and do a quick presentation at a future council meeting about lots, sort of like what we did with the TIF presentation. And I didn't know if it's okay if I work towards setting that up at a future council meeting in the next few months.
I think it's a great idea.
I've been studying it, I'm gonna top of it. Drew and I have been talking about it a lot, so I think there's a lot of opportunities for spots, for different projects, would do it differently for different projects. I mean,
I think, Chris, if you're gonna do that, I know very little about this, but, it helps me if you could identify a project where this might apply, because I'm super concrete in that way.
Yeah.
Let's just talking about it being abstract concept.
There's a couple
Yeah,
projects on.
but you know what I'm
No, if
saying.
you could be specific
Yeah,
on
yeah.
how a bot would work with this
Work
project.
for this project versus the other project.
One, two
Okay.
examples.
And then, the only other new visit, or the miscellaneous, I'd sent that email out to get the signature for the NDOT letter.
Mhm.
Steve's the only one that responded.
I did,
I didn't receive,
I did, this afternoon,
I didn't receive
okay.
it. So I mean, just to make sure that everybody's on board, so I can get Stacy to sign it as they need
It was
it.
fine.
Oh.
I
It's-
said, it's fine.
I said, yes, I signed it.
A couple of days ago,
No, this one just came out today,
last week.
or yesterday.
I sent it last
And then you
night.
sent it,
Last night.
you sent it out again.
Okay.
I did this afternoon, but it
Okay.
was
No, you didn't.
Well, I mean,
You were the first one.
I can print the copy. Nanette, I sent you, I didn't have the right letterhead.
Yes, I
Do you?
will. I'm sorry, I was in budget numbers today, I didn't see my email. I can reprint it, I'll get Stacy to sign it.
Because I just have to have it to them tomorrow.
Okay, we'll get it done.
And that's all that I had under miscellaneous, and if I would have had that meeting today, I would have included this in the packet, but I think that, it's time for us to consider that, and there's some ordinance structure that has to be put in place before we'll get into all that.
The only thing I have, and I talked to Nanette about it today, I put in, our final paperwork for Ready 2.0 for the playground. And so we had to line everything up, so you guys have dedicated 500,000 to the playground through the bond, but our portion's gonna be, what'd I say, 527?
528.
528, so 28,000 over, but, we talked about the park budget, the edit fund, so we're gonna,
I'll find it.
so all that went through, so fingers crossed.
Can I just, give an update about what I know, since
Yeah.
I'm also in the queue on a different project? They haven't released a dime yet, and I don't think it's coming this year,
Okay.
so. I don't wanna be that guy, but I'm just telling you what I know, okay?
Yeah,
That goes back to I'm not happy until I'm in the bank.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's
Yeah.
coming, but I'm happier when I know it's in the
Yeah.
bank.
because so today during the conversation I had with ERAF, and so basically they wanted, I had sent them everything, the last piece they needed was this basic budget, right, of ready versus private versus public. And the big thing is we need to sign the quote, right, from, Midstate. And I was like, so should I sign this? And they were like, well, not yet. And then, cause then my worry is, right, for the longer it goes out, then they're gonna have to re-quote it, right?
Correct.
Right.
So I don't wanna sign anything or commit anything until we 100% know, but just so you guys know, as of right now, our portion's a little bit over, but that's the final dollars that we sent in.
Which is normal for every project
Every
we do.
project is gonna be, and that comes too because the last quote
It's gone
expired
up.
and it went, it went up after that last quote.
Actually,
If we could have done it originally, I forgot one other thing. We got an email late today about FEMA stuff. We're meeting with EMA the first week of August to get the details on when we'll expect the money now that the federal stuff has been approved in DC. So the state folks are coming down and I think the fifth or sixth. We're meeting with them and hopefully we'll have a better idea.
Sewer money.
But we get a little, don't we?
Yeah.
I hope
A little bit of
everybody
it.
read the article from the Courier about AT&T and the problems that they were having with property they owned in Evansville. That may have taken care of our problem, because I noticed that immediately the grass was cut, the weeds have been basically pulled.
Well, I posted a comment,
Yeah,
all right, that it was, because somebody was asking about the property
think it looks good compared to how it has been.
Yeah, but it's per our code, by Friday it'll be,
Probably, yeah. In the trail file, hopefully you still have some information about the bump out that was proposed
Oh, look.
by Commonwealth. I think they are the ones who did the study of the feasibility of doing that. So,
I'll look for it.
no need to reinvent the wheel if we've got some information
Some
from.
plans, information. Okay, I'll look for it.
Anything else? Thank you
Well,
all.
I got the coolest thing.
Oh, better go.
Need to, make a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.